So the Packers have won the North. Aaron Rodgers continues his reign as king of the North, and the Packers are in sole possession of the #1 seed and control their destiny for the #1 seed. And I think we can all take a drink to that. What's going on, everyone? Bass here. Packers win 31-24 against the Detroit Lions in their own stadium. Packers move to 10-3, and like I said, take the NFC North title for 2 years in a row. It seems the Packers are continuing their dominance over the NFC North and the NFC in general, and I think it will continue, you know, as long as Aaron Rodgers is playing quarterback, because right now he's the MVP. Patrick Mahomes threw 3 interceptions today. Aaron Rodgers right now I think has sole lead to the MVP. And it's close. Pat Mahomes is a wonderful player. But to put it in perspective, Pat Mahomes threw 3 interceptions today and the Chiefs still won. Packers have never won while Aaron Rodgers thrown 3 interceptions. And that's not a dig on him. That's a dig on this whole team. So it's pretty much like if the Packers aren't playing amazing, or if Aaron Rodgers isn't playing amazing, the Packers aren't going to win usually. That just shows how good he really is and how much he actually lifts this team up. But today was a really good team win. So even though I was just trashing on the Eagles last week, I'm going to go ahead and give them a shout out for Jalen Hurts and crew and company beating the New Orleans Saints, giving them the same 10-3 record as the Packers, but the Packers obviously have the tiebreaker over them, so pretty much control their own destiny. And this is huge because New Orleans plays Kansas City next week, so I don't know if Drew Brees is going to be back, but generally speaking, they're probably going to lose that game with or without Drew Brees. And this is really big because in 2 weeks, the Packers play Tennessee in Sunday Night Football, which is the game that's circled for the last 3 of the Packers. I think that is a game that they could lose, and it's definitely their most dangerous one left with, obviously, Carolina next week and then Chicago to end the season. But, you know, that's definitely a game that's definitely going to be circled and could be a potential loss. But at this rate, if the Saints lose to Kansas City next week, the Packers can still drop a game against Tennessee and still be the #1 seed in the NFC, which is awesome. So Aaron Rodgers with another killer day, 26 of 33, 290 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers still showed a little bit of wheels on one of those bootleg plays and ran it in for a touchdown. I was really hoping for the belt. Didn't see it, but he hasn't done the belt in so long. I don't know if he's going to bring it out if he wins MVP or goes to the Super Bowl, something like that. That would be great to see if he did it like on a game-winning drive in the Super Bowl, if we even come to that, you know, hopefully. But, you know, I just want to see the belt again. You see all these players mocking it, and Aaron Rodgers just torches them, like last week with Javon Hargrave. If you saw my video, you can go down in the description. It's Don't Mock the Belt gosh, I don't even know what version it is at this rate. So Aaron Jones with a pretty average day, 15 carries, 69 yards. Jamal 10 for 38. Seems like they were resting Aaron Jones to start the second half. I don't know if this is like them trying to keep him fresh for the playoffs, which is a right thing to do because you have 3 running backs and Jamal's a very serviceable running back, or they're trying not to just like put a lot of load on him because, you know, that's going to raise his value for free agency. Aaron Jones got a new agent today because he wasn't like where the negotiations were going. So we're still really up in arms on whether or not Aaron Jones is going to remain a Packer or this is the last year he's going to be playing in the Green Bay uniform. Little upset to see no A.J. Dillon carries. He got activated a couple days ago off the COVID list. He had it for like about 4 or 5 weeks. He said it really hit him harder than usual, which, you know, you don't know with these sort of things, but I kind of expected him to at least get 3 or 4 carries this game. He didn't. Like I said, it's always good to have healthy running backs going into December and going into January in the playoffs, so it's not hurting them to not run Dillon, but I also want to see what they have with him because they drafted him in the 2nd round, and like I said, Aaron Jones might not be back. So Davante Adams, if anyone at this rate is saying Davante Adams isn't a top 3 wide receiver, you're just flat out wrong. You know, like, I don't even know if it's an opinion at this rate. Davante Adams is a top 3 wide receiver. He's been playing lights out. He scores so many touchdowns consistently every week. 7 for 115 and a touchdown. And you saw early on the first touchdown the Packers got, you know, just burned his guy really on a back shoulder type of throw, cut up field, got past one guy, took it all the way. Just such a good player. And then late in the game, a quick pass to the right sideline, 1v1 coverage, put the Allen Iverson cross up on him, got away from him, and then pretty much got another 20 yards on that game there, another 20-25 yards, which really helped the Packers move the ball down the field, which ended up in the Mason Crosby field goal, I believe. So next highest on receiving was Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Had a season high 6 receptions for 85 yards. The thing with MVS, and I say this a lot because he's a very inconsistent player, but his highs are really high and his lows are really low. It's one or the other you kind of get. And, you know, for a 5th round draft choice, you get what you draft for, but, you know, I think MVS is a very solid player at this rate in his career for Aaron Rodgers. You know, he does what he needs to do. Yes, he has some drops. Yes, he has some mistakes, but he blocks really well, and I think it's a very underrated part of his game. Today, other than the one holding call, he blocked very well. And, you know, if the Packers are going to go far in the playoffs, they're going to need MVS to really step up and continue his good play. And then finally, in significance of receiving, Tonyan, 5 catches, 36 yards, and a touchdown. Dude always seems to be open. I think he's at 9 touchdowns on the year. The Packers' season high for tight end touchdowns, I think, is at 11, which is very, you know, reachable for him with 3 games left, considering he scores almost every game. So that'll be really cool to see. Tonyan is definitely the tight end of the future for the Packers, which is amazing. And last for offense, there was a Tavon Austin sighting on offense, a couple of them. He did some, it seemed to be designed swing passes to Tavon Austin, kind of like what Tyler Ervin would do. And I like to see that. Tavon still seems he has wheels, he still seems he has, you know, acceleration, those sort of things. He's also returning punts. I want to see that because it seems Tyler Ervin's probably done for the year, so it was cool to see Tavon come in after being inactive last week and had some design plays for him. And once he gets in the rhythm, he could be really used as a weapon for this team. So moving over to the defense, the first drive and early on, it seemed like there was a significant lack of urgency. You know, Darrell Bevell's a good offensive-minded coach, so I kind of expected the Lions to play pretty decently on offense. But it seemed the lack of urgency kind of hurt the Packers, and they're also riddled with a lot of penalties today. The one drive, I think they had about 5 penalties that, you know, ended up resulting in a lot of first downs and then a Kerryon Johnson running touchdown. But just the lack of urgency. There's a few players that played well, and I'll get into that. So Dean Lowry is playing a lot better. A lot of people shit on him because he has a pretty hefty contract, and rightfully so. You know, if players don't play up to their contract, you should, you know, be critical of them. But Dean Lowry in the last couple weeks has been playing really well. He had a sack today. He's been playing really well against the run. And the Packers' run defense was sneakily elite today. Like, and I know the Lions didn't run crazy amount. I think they ran for 51 yards, a 3.4 average. I think it's on 15 attempts. So they only ran 15 attempts total, which is really low. And that's what the Packers have to do. They have to take the lead and keep the lead and hold the time of possession. That's what the Chiefs do. The Chiefs don't have a good run defense. It's actually worse than the Packers. But what they do well is hold the ball so the other team has to throw to get back into the game, and they don't run and carve up their defense. If the Packers do that like they did today, I think their defense can really be good on paper. So it's really just keeping the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands, which is, you know, pretty straightforward. So Darnell Savage, another really good game. He had a sack right before half. He led the team in tackles. The sack was really pivotal because it seemed the Lions had about 48 seconds to go down and kick a field goal before half. Took him out of that range. They ended up not getting the first down, and the clock ran out. He's been really playing his ass off the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, and he's becoming a premier safety in this league, and he's only in the 2nd year of his career. So things are trending up for Darnell Savage. The safeties overall, including obviously Savage, just played really well today. Adrian Amos hit really hard today. He had a few really good hits and a few good pass breakups. And also Vernon Scott stepped up today. With Raven Green being out, Vernon Scott stepped into some of his snaps and did play a pretty damn good game today. So other than Dean Lowry, the other sacks were by Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary. And what I will say about Rashawn Gary is he's starting to really step his game up as well. It seems his speed rush is getting better and better every single week. And it just seems like he's going to be the one to take over for Preston Smith next year, whether they cut him, trade him, or whatever, or just straight up bench him. I'm going to guess it's going to be one of the cut or trade, but I do believe Rashawn Gary and Zadarius Smith will be the 2 starting outside linebackers for 2021. Speaking of new starters, Kevin King got targeted a lot today. And it worked. It seemed the Darrell Bevell and the Lions knew something, and pretty much Stafford was picking on him all day, and like I said, it worked. Kevin King had a rough day, and it's starting to seem like this is his last year in a Packers uniform. I just don't see them paying him with his injury concern and his inconsistency of play. It seems the offseason, a cornerback is actually a bigger need than a wide receiver at this rate, because I don't see them bringing back Kevin King, and then you have Jair Alexander, who's of course top 3 corner in the league, lockdown. Chandon Sullivan's a good nickel corner, but at the outside spot, you know, you have a kind of a question mark. Cordell Holman's showing some promise, but other than that, you might need to draft a corner in the first 2 days of the draft. So moving on to the not-so-special teams, still really poopy, just poopy performance overall with them. Other than Mason Crosby, which he needs way more recognition. Dude hit a 58-yarder after a false start like it was nothing. Like right when the ball left his foot, threw his arms up, he knew it was going in. And Mason Crosby gets like no recognition. Like there's all these kickers in the leagues that everyone talks about. Justin Tucker, to name a couple, to name one. No one talks about Mason Crosby if you're not a Packers fan. Like if you're a Packers fan, of course, you're always like, Mason Crosby's the GOAT. He's, you know, he's great, he's clutch. But if you're not a Packers fan, you never really hear about him. And I hate to bring up Madden ratings, but I think that dude's been a 74 in Madden for about 10 years now. It's just utter disrespect. Mason Crosby, I think, hasn't missed a field goal this year. He's missed some extra points the last 2 weeks, but I don't think he's really missed a field goal this year, which is insane. And the 58-yarder, you know, beating his, I think it's either tying or beating his career long to pretty much seal the game, kind of put the Packers up by 10, just huge kick. And especially to do it in the stadium where he had his worst performance of his career, you know, you got to give him props. He needs more recognition around the league. So personally, I think Sean Menenga is going to be gone next year, the special teams coordinator. It just seems we keep repeating the same thing. Slocum, Zook, Menenga. They all have issues, you know? That kick return, Crosby, right after his 58-yard field goal, he had to make the touchdown-saving tackle. I mean, come on. Don't like the special teams unit. It doesn't really seem like they have a great gunner either on punt coverage or kick coverage or anything. Like a Janis like a few years ago or someone like that, or like a Slater like the Patriots had. It doesn't seem like they really have that guy right now, and I think that's also part of the problem. So overall, you know, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real good. The Packers on top of the North, won it again. You know, the #1 seed right now. They are playing the 4-9 Carolina Panthers next week, which you can't take them lightly. Yes, they lost to the Broncos today, but they still don't have CMC, and he might come back next week. So you really can't take that lightly, especially against the Packers, who have a lot of trouble with really good running backs like Dalvin Cook, CMC, all those type of guys. So it depends. I see them winning that game still, but if CMC plays, I think it's going to be a lot closer than most people think. So on that note, that'll about do it. I want everyone to take a drink. If you're of age, cheers me for that. Packers win the North. Go Pack, go.